Well, we're well past the halfway mark between Pentecost and Advent. The time when we, Sunday after Sunday, hear what it means to be a disciple of Jesus. We know who he is. We heard all about that from Advent to Pentecost, the life of Christ, the sufferings of Christ, and the resurrection. But these Sundays after Pentecost are a time when we delve into what it means to really be his follower. Today we're reminded that who Jesus came for. In the first reading, the Israelites had this idea that they were the chosen people, that they were the exclusive loved ones of God. And then the prophets came along centuries later to straighten them out. You are the chosen ones of God, they said, but you're meant to be a city on a hill, attracting all the peoples of the world to the knowledge and the love of the God who has revealed himself to you. That's your vocation, that's your calling. And of course the people became very, we are the in-group, we are the saved, we are the special ones of God, and they kept everybody away. That's a temptation which can call to the disciples of Jesus too. The disciples can become the in-group, and then are the others. And usually the others are a vast field of people, especially people who are not living perfect Christian lives as we think we are. But Jesus, like the prophets of old, called the New Jerusalem, the Christian people, to be a light on a mountaintop, a candle on a lampstand, to shine out over the world and to draw all people to him and therefore to his Father because of the way they lived in this new world, this new Jerusalem, which we call church. But of course we've set boundaries for church. There are certain people who are in the church and there are certain people who are out of the church. And often we decide who they are, at least in our minds, and sometimes, unfortunately, in our behavior. But the same message that came through the Israelite people and was renewed by the prophets is that the God that we worship is the God of all. He has no favorites. We are not the favorites of God. We are part of the family of God, whom he loves totally. I think one of the dangers of a Christian is to say, well, I'm not perfect, but in comparison to, fill in the blank, I'm not too bad. And I think there's more and more of that in our life today, in our culture, in our politics, and in our church. I'm not perfect, but there's them. And that is something which we have to conquer, because we will never be the disciples of Christ. We will never fulfill our ministry as his church, as his city on a hill, unless we get over that and realize that the arms of God are far wider than we can ever imagine, and we have to let people know what God's encompassing love means for them. There are too many people on this planet who are living in despair and fear and hatred and all the evils that come from that because they have not experienced acceptance, to say nothing of love. We are slowly filling our world with all kinds of people who don't feel accepted. And when I don't feel accepted, I retreat within myself and become very defensive. So we Christians have an obligation today more than ever to let the world know what the merciful love of God is, the unconditional accepting love of God is, and we have to do it by concrete acts, specific words, our relationship and our attitude to all people. In particular, the ones who come in contact with us on a day-by-day basis. And we need to stop feeding the division of the world by talking down other people. I know that there are terrorists in the world, but believe it or not, they are the beloved children of our Father. The most important word in the Lord's Prayer is the first word, our. So let us go back to being disciples as we continue our training. Let us go back to deepening our relationship with God by deepening our relationship with His people, with His children, with His loved ones, with no exceptions. We don't have to agree with everybody, but we have to love everybody. And love comes down not only to concrete actions, it comes down to the way, in fact, it begins with the way we think about people. And our acts follow. We live in a very divisive world, and if there's one group of people, the only group of people, I think, who are going to end the divisions among us, it's the disciples of Jesus. Because if we don't do it, if we can't do it, or if we refuse to do it, who is going to do it? Who is going to make the love of God evident in the world if it's not us who have experienced it firsthand from the Son of God Himself? Be a lighthouse, not a spotlight. Be a lighthouse which shows people the way, and not a spotlight which condemns people who we don't think are on the way.